Okay, we're back with the dynamic duo from Muscle Mikeys. We've got Yols and we've got Melissa, who are a dynamic duo focused on fitness and proper lifestyle, where they've combined or they've taken an interesting journey where they've combined their fitness journey as well as their spiritual journey. And together, they're Muscle Mikeys. So welcome to Yoli and Melissa.
Thank you, G. Thank you for popping our cherries with podcasts. We are excited to be doing this with you. So lead the way, please.
Okay, so guys, obviously, when you look at a lot of the stuff on Instagram or TikTok, whatever social media you're consuming, and you look at fitness influencers or people that are trying to tell us all how we should be living or how we should be doing an arm curl, one of the things that most people will agree on, there's a very toxic vibe in the industry. In most cases, not all, but if you end up in that algorithm, it's a very male dominated environment, and sometimes it can be a bit toxic. But you two have taken a different approach. You're looking from looking at your content. You're not trying to put across anything very serious. You're sharing what you know. You're pretty open about what you're doing, and you're learning at the same time. The thing that I find interesting is that you've also brought your own sort of spiritual journey and your faith into what it is you're doing as you build Muscle Mikeys as a destination for people that want to learn a little bit of both. I think the spiritual side of life as well as the healthy lifestyle. So talk to us. Tell me where this all began, how you started out before you were Muscle Mikeys, what led us to this point.
Okay, so we figured out the other day, it was in 2021 when we met each other in the gym. Yes. And both of us were the only Afrikaans girls, really proper Afrikaans girls in the gym. I mean, there's also Jackie, but it was the two of us. So I think because of the Afrikaans, we connected. Yeah. And, whenever we were out and about with people, we ended up sitting next to each other. And our relationship really started just off like that. And then last year sometime I was watching Melissa in the gym, and I'm like, yo, there's some serious changes happening to this girl's body. She was focused. You could see she went in there with a plan. She went from the one machine to the next. And I'm like, is she listening to a lot more Mind Pump, or what is going on here? Because we also have Mind Pump in common, the podcast. So I've been asking questions and I've been making comments about it. And then Melissa, over to you.
Well, I didn't say anything at the start to Yole, but eventually, when I felt confident enough in myself, then I was prepared to tell her that I actually approached her coach. um, yeah, and then I made contact with her coach and a while back, and then I told Yoli that we train together now, and I'm following the diet, and I'm really excited about this journey. And the main reason why I actually didn't tell her was, or in fact anybody at that stage, was judgment. People people will think a lot of things when you start with a training plan or program, and that puts a lot of pressure on you. You put a lot of pressure on yourself then to perform, and typically when people think you're on a fitness
Program
mission
or coach, or you've got a coach, then what are you
then
going to do with
yeah,
it?
what do you do with it? What's the end result?
Are you going to stage?
Yes.
It's all of those types of questions.
Yeah, that's you want to focus one step at a time to have your goal in mind, not let anyone distract you from your decisions. But then I was confident enough to tell her, and then I was so excited in the same sentence to actually try to include her in my journey. And I think that's where everything
That's where it started. Yeah. So we started, Melissa, our coach Quadzilla, created a program for us together. So 2 to 3 days a week, we train together in the gym. Sunday mornings are our favorite because we are there super early, 6 o'clock. There's no one there. We can make content, no judging duties. We can make our content and we can have our workout, and we push each other. So, I mean, since I've been training with Melissa, I think we only really started doing this from last year's September, October. This girl has got so much energy and such a beautiful nature that it's just exactly what I needed in my life. So then we were training in the gym and we were making these videos, and then Melissa's like, why don't we open up a page. I'm like, yes, let's open up a page. We opened up that page in the ladies' bathrooms at Planet Fitness. We were so eager, we didn't even write down the password of the social media. Melissa's in the interim gone on a social media crash course, and we are here today still crash coursing.
Okay, that's fantastic. So I think one of the things is when you look at fitness influencers or health style or whatever they want to call themselves, they're either pushing supplements or they're pushing a training program that they've developed or some kind of sponsorship. I mean, clearly you guys are not pushing products, but you are pushing faith and spirituality. So why did you decide to combine the two, or how did you combine the two? I mean, I think it's special and it's unique. It's a very unique approach. And as I said, and as you've admitted now, when you mentioned judging duties, and we know the gym that you train at, I think it can be very toxic when you have a coach, people want to know if you're competing. It's competitive. It's wonderful. You know, you need competition to drive you forward. But at the end of the day, no matter which way you skin the cat, some of these gyms are just filled with people that are there to show off their physique or their latest gym outfit or whatever the case may be. But you guys are doing something really special. So tell me how you got onto combining, your spirituality with something like fitness.
Okay, so for me, I feel like the two goes hand in hand. My gym story is a little bit different from Melissa's. I joined the gym about 8 years ago, and the gym really led me back to my faith. I think, as we grow in our lives and things change, we know sometimes we're close to the Lord, sometimes we're not so close to Him. So when I joined the gym and I met all these wonderful women, the gym queens, including my faith Maiq, yeah, my sister in faith. It led me back to church, and it's been an amazing journey where I can share my testimonies and things that's happening in my life with my friends. And yeah, I think that's really the reason why I feel like we want to try and combine the two. So when we say faith, I mean, there's lots and lots of different religions out there. So we don't want to, boil it down just to godly religion. If there's other people that also want to feel that they can get inspired by us and we unleash their potential. So we're not going to make it a strictly faith based page, but we want to share our stories and we want to share other people's stories. The best way to do this is also, being in the gym with like-minded people that you can share these stories with. I feel that's like how the two combine for me.
For me, on the other side, the older you get, not that we are very old,
We're a decade apart.
that you kind of realize how important health is, especially when you are training or when you are trying to be fit, whether you're running or playing tennis or gymming, that injuries do happen and that you cannot take your health for granted. You have to take care of your body. You have to look after yourself, take a little bit more time, be conscious and aware of what your body can do, and recovery is also important. So with that in mind, my faith, you need to trust that you have been given this physical body and that you need to take care of it and respect it.
Fantastic. So would you guys say whether this is the podcast or your page or your platform, did you set out to create it because you had a calling, or do you feel that you've created something and now there's an opportunity to reach other people and spread, the good news and the good works that you guys have experienced and other people have experienced? So was it a calling, I guess, at the end of the day, or has it become something that wasn't necessarily a calling, but is now becoming something that you want to really do in order to, touch more people with a positive message?
We were chatting about this yesterday while we were doing hammer calls. So both of us individually, before even tapping into each other, were praying and saying, "Dear Lord, I feel like there's something I need to do. I'm not sure what it is. Can you show me the way? Or is there nothing that I must do?" I mean, we had this conversation yesterday. I think when this happened, it was no coincidence. I feel like it is a calling only now, because once we've launched the page, because it's very just, we started with an Instagram and Facebook page. The response have been so amazing. I mean, we've got people at the gym coming up to us, people that we don't necessarily know, that's seen our videos, that likes it. So we've had such a great response. And now that we've realized that this is in fact a calling, our heads are in overdrive. I mean, that's why we are sitting here today doing this podcast with you, because it's another step for us towards something that it is that we eventually also want to do. So we are strategizing. I mean, the two of us are probably voice noting each other 20 to 30 times a day with ideas and things of what we can do. But mainly it's to inspire people and to show them that they have got potential that can be unleashed. We all have it.
Yeah. I knew the moment I met Yoli, there was this chemistry between us, emotional connection, and we just clicked. But I wasn't sure what this is gonna mean in the future. But I knew there is something between us. And finally, it was a very slow process, and I was like, yeah, so we can't find that thing that connects us. And then eventually we figured it out. And the thing is, it wasn't hard. It just started rolling and
Yes,
rolling.
it's just easy.
It's
Melissa
very easy.
does her thing with social media. I do my thing with. It's like the two of us. Well, like we just fill each other in the gaps where the other one's maybe
Yeah.
not good at. So right now we are just having the time of our lives.
That's great. So I have to ask you, when you're in the gym, are you one of those people or one of those groups of people that stacks tripods up and takes the 20 kg barbell and straps your camera to it and just uses equipment that normal gym goers would like to use, but you've decided to use it for camera equipment? Are you those people?
No, we go on a Sunday morning when there's nobody there, and then we rip out all of our tripods and stuff, and we have the best time. When we make other types of content, we go and do it in the yoga studio. So we know we're not really those people, but we do in the in sessions. We'll rip out the camera and quickly
Yeah.
record something for our coaches. But no, we're not using the barbells for tripods. We've got gym
Okay,
etiquette.
yes, no, well, maybe on your podcast you could teach people about gym etiquette,
I
particularly
think so.
at the Four Ways gyms. I think some people need help.
Yes.
Definitely.
Um, Aside from people using gym equipment as their own personal recording studio, I mean, what do you think is wrong with fitness or gym culture in the modern world? I have my own views, and I'm sure you picked it up as I was mentioning it. But I mean, I want to hear from you guys. What is it you want to turn the perception on?
I think the toxicness that you might be referring to, look, at the end of the day, when it comes to social media and all of those things, there are tons and tons of influencers out there. And what you are watching ultimately creates your algorithm. So if you are going to be feeding yourself with keto diets, or you're going to be feeding your feed with intermittent fasting, that's going to, and that those things become, I think, toxic to an extent, because, people are desperate out there for quick fixes and stuff like that. I don't have an opinion on, whether you do bodybuilding and you go on a stage, or whether you play paddle. My whole thing about fitness is it's not even about the gym. It's really about taking care of your body, and so that you can live a longer, better life. But yeah, there is a lot of toxic energy out there. And again, it's, you need to check your circles out. Who do you want to look up to? Who do you want to aspire to be? The people that you surround yourself with.
Yeah, I think these days so many things and possibilities are out there, and I think people are using resources. How can I say? Which they take it a little too far,
Yeah.
perhaps. And
Whether that is a GLP-1 or whether it's a steroid or whatever, those types of things.
they're trying to look for shortcuts. I mean, it's not to say that you should not use any of those things, but I think you should be responsible and also get back to the root of the cause, what your problem is, what your challenge is, and get back to just getting that right from the beginning, whether it's your diet or you're just being healthy and a bit more active.
So I think, you guys have hit the nail on the head. I think if you jump onto an algorithm and you have a particular stream of content that you look at, then you'll get more of that, and you'll just keep getting different versions of that. And, I've spent quite a bit of time looking at reels, and one of the things I look at is the correct technique to do a certain exercise. So one of the things I've noticed is if you want to, let's take tricep push down. If you want to learn how to do the correct form on tricep push down, and you just get those reels, there's so many people just contradicting one another. One person will tell you to bend, the other person will stand up straight. It's very confusing. And I think the other problem is, and I actually had an interaction with a person on Instagram who was giving out advice. Now, why I had to have an interaction, you know me, is this person just did not look like the kind of person at all that should be giving gym advice. The person had no physique. And then when I read the bio, I was even more irritated by the fact that this person claims he is a nutritional coach, he's a wellness coach, and he's a personal trainer. And, you know, if you had to look at the profile, you could clearly see this person should not be giving anybody any advice at all until such time as he got to that point where people could reflect on his physique, because that's all you can look at when you look at Instagram. And yeah, it got a little bit heated. I'm sure he was offended, no doubt. But I was also offended having to look at this and having somebody that shouldn't be giving advice, giving me advice. Now, that was an extreme case. You could see by the person's physique, this is not somebody that should be giving advice. But there are other people that have attained a certain level of fitness. They look fairly good, but they're giving advice that's really, I think, can be quite dangerous. I mean, there are people offering advice on supplements that are officially not even approved by Food and Drug Administration. All of these GLP-1s, different things, you know, peptides are the latest craze. And, you know, any person is just prescribing them. They have no medical degree. You know, and I think that's where it might start getting dangerous. So, Melissa, as you said, if you take it too far, anything can kind of damage you if you become too obsessed with it and really start doing crazy things. But I think there is a real danger in the fitness industry because people, as you said, want a quick fix, and there's so many products available that there's a danger that somebody like me that wants to chase a quick fix ends up taking something that I could pay a horrible price for. I could be damaging my kidneys. I could be doing all kinds of things. So I think the fact that you guys are taking the approach and maybe focus more on the body and the lifestyle rather than what supplements you should be taking or shouldn't be taking, I think that's great. You need to get to a level where you perfect the foundation, and then if you feel you need to take some of these substances to boost your performance, that you seek out a professional and not somebody necessarily pushing a product they're endorsed or importing, you know, on Instagram. So yeah, I mean, more power to you guys. I think the more positive news and the better you do for the industry, it's something that everybody can get behind. And having said all of that, whether we're talking about people wanting to learn how to do the exercise properly or trying to buy the next peptide, are people chasing image over purpose?
Look, at the end of the day, if your body is in good shape, people can, you can see it. You can all see it. You can see if somebody takes care of themselves. I mean, that's no secret. In the gym, when you go to gym, you can't go to the gym without a plan, or you've got to go there with a purpose. Let's say you are doing back today or you're doing legs today, and your physique looks the way it does because of all of these things that you do. You know, that's why I'm thinking with the two, you know, you've got your purpose, your faith is on purpose, and you've got a purpose with regards to your faith, and you've got a purpose with regards to your body. So yeah, I think that's how you can sort of connect the two.
For me, I think if you're just going to chase after a certain look, then it's very short lived. You have to find that core motivation. Why do you want to look better? Because then you'll not just uh, do something or be motivated when it suits you. You'll be motivated for the right reasons, and it will show throughout your whole day. Every day you'll make small little choices that will better your health, and eventually you'll reach the goal of looking better and also feeling better. Because at the end of the day, you have to be happy with yourself. It's not about an image or a certain look that you want to get to, but it is something that you need to feel good about yourself.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I mean, there's a whole, we're talking about people maybe that are focused on image, maybe in this discussion, but I think there's a whole group of people that aren't necessarily chasing the Mr. Olympia or Mr. Olympia physique. They actually have serious health problems. They might be overweight, obese, and they want to start moving and getting into shape because it's damaging their heart or other parts of their body. And I think there's a whole group of people that really just want the starting point. How do I start moving? what are the exercises I can do given my condition? I haven't trained, I haven't picked up a dumbbell in 20 years. And I think they're those people that might also be getting lost in the noise. So I think, the ability for us just to bring the message back to, it's not only about the image, it's about your health and starting to feel better. I mean, that's a really big part of it as well, not just people that want to look good in the gym, which it sometimes feels like that's all it's about.
No, 100%. But at the end of the day, with health, you can also spot a healthy person a mile away, and healthy looks different on everybody. It's not about being on a bodybuilding stage or having muscles or having a snatched waist. It's, this person can move, this person's got a good skin tone, their hair is nice and thick. You can see a healthy person. So I think when, with image, you can also see an unhealthy person that also, and they can be skinny. So it's not really for me, I think, a weight thing as much as it is, like you said, about health, being healthy.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Cool. So and obviously it requires a level of discipline. And I think the more you push yourself and the bigger your goals are for your physique, your fitness goals, the more discipline you require. So I like to go to gym. I'm not disciplined. I'm disciplined to the point that I think if I go less than 3 or 4 times a week, I start feeling guilty. And that's the level of discipline I have. I think Yolanda is disciplined to a point where she will eat chicken and rice every day, all the time, and still do the gym thing. And that come rain or shine, whatever happens, she does those things. Whereas if I'm not feeling like it, I'm just not going to go to gym. I'm quite lazy. I tend not to push myself. So where does discipline and obsession meet, or when does discipline become obsession?
It's a fine, fine line. Obsession, is also something that can happen to anybody. It's happened to me. You become obsessed. You start seeing the muscles. You're going to on your first bodybuilding stage. You get off the stage. Your body changes again. So I think there's a very fine line between discipline and obsession. But I think between the two, obsession, if it makes you sick, you're doing it wrong. So I think that's when it starts becoming an issue, when it starts affecting your health.
Yeah, for me, it's when you start obsessing over the small little things that is really ridiculous.
Like jumping on the scale every day. People do that. I can also do that.
Yeah.
So,
or you're obsessing over there's no eggs in the house and you need to have 2 eggs today. That's on your diet plan, but there's no eggs, and now you're having a massive fit or a fight.
yeah,
Small little things, like there's much things.
that's obsession.
So now let's get to that point. Obviously, if you consistently exercise and you do the exercises properly, you start to see self-improvement. And I think with self-improvement, once you're putting so much effort into it and you've been disciplined, it's only right that you see some of the rewards, that you see, okay, I'm losing weight, I'm developing strong shoulders, arms, whatever it is you're focused on. But again, back to the obsession point, at what point do you think self-improvement crosses over to becoming obsessed with yourself?
When it makes you sick. I think when ultimately something's going to give, whether that is your body telling you that you're taking it too far, whether that is losing friends because they can't watch you doing this anymore. So self-obsession, it's like an addiction, I think, and it just like, if you're an addict and you need to work on whether it is alcohol or drugs or gambling, you've got to do the work. Self-obsession can very easily, it's the same type, I think, adrenaline or dopamine that you get. So hopefully you've got a Mikey that can, be there for you and get you back onto the right road. But yeah, self-obsession, ultimately, if it makes you sick, it's not good.
Yeah, the mental health part is coming in also, where you either start getting depressed because you're not seeing results and now you just throw in the towel, or you get anxiety because every little thing is stressing you out. I think it's also important to have Mikeys to be honest with you and tell you exactly what's happening at this moment, and then just take a step back and keep the bigger picture in mind.
So we've spoken a bit about the self-image and workouts and the fitness side of things, but let's just talk about faith. So I think for a while, and this is probably belongs to a different podcast, but for a while it wasn't cool to talk about God or religion anywhere really. They stripped it out of schools. Look at what happened in America. They don't call it Christmas anymore. You're not really allowed to for a while. And then, I think with the last elections, things changed, and the current administration has worked really hard to undo all of that at that level, and to be open about Christianity if that's your belief, and you don't have to hide it away. And I think that's probably why a lot of the stuff in social media is steers away from that. But when we talk about faith and the fitness work you're doing, because now we can, and I think it's good that you are bringing faith out into the forefront because there's not enough of it. How does faith actually show up in your workouts or your health lifestyle? Where does it come in terms of Muscle Mikeys? How do you bring it in, or where do you bring it in, or do you not purposely have an agenda to bring it in, but it just shows up as you go about your normal business?
So for me, I'm going to go back to the word discipline. I mean, when I am in the gym, or whether I go to the gym, going to gym is like brushing my teeth, but there are still days where I don't feel like going. So discipline is a big thing for me, and also when it comes to my meals and all of those things. And for around faith, when times are tough and things are not going great, you also need to have discipline to still be grateful and thankful, and to see all the good things that are happening in your life. So for me, I think the word that brings those two together is discipline.
For me, you still feel it's important to respect your body, and you got to honor your body and exercise, whether which type of exercise it might be, to remember that your body is something that you need to respect, take care of.
Only one you got.
Yeah, it's you only have one. Yeah, and then that's where the faith part connects. Like when I train as if I respect it, as if I want to take care of it. So what am I doing specifically with my workout? Why am I choosing this exercise? I want to make my body stronger. I want it healthier. I want it to last longer, longevity type of thing. Yeah.
So Melissa's faith really got tested last year. She had an injury. I think you must take us through that.
Yeah, I sprained my ankle on the tennis court and I was out for about 3 months. I couldn't train. I basically realized how important your health is.
She became an upper body beast because that's all she could do. So now I'm so far behind. But anyway, carry on.
So now you literally, you are aware now of what you've got. You appreciate that, okay, right, this is only my ankle being affected. I can still use my arms. I can still use my back. I can still use my abs.
She came to gym on crutches. I mean, that is proper discipline and determination.
Yeah, you won't find me in gym on crutches.
No, I know we won't. But it was a long road for her. I mean, she would get better, and then she would have a rough day on the tennis court, and her steps would be like 5,000 over what she should be doing, and then she could feel it that evening again. And she was so scared to injure it again that at some stage with an injury like that, you've got to push it, and she was too scared to push it. So I think, you had such support in the gym.
Yeah.
People giving advice. She was referred to a doctor. She went to go and see a doctor. So her faith was really tested.
Sure.
And I mean, I went through that with her, and that was just amazing. I mean, if I think back of it now, I don't even ask you about your ankle anymore.
Yeah.
I used to ask her twice a day, who's your ankle?
Yeah, no, that was really a tough time, and that made my faith belief really stronger. Just to believe that your body can actually heal. You need to respect the time it needs to heal. Don't test the boundaries, but a little bit, you need to know where you are. And yeah, you gotta just believe that this will get better and work around it, and not try to push your recovery time. Yeah.
So aside from pushing yourself when you've got an injury, I mean, we all have those, some of us more days than most, but what do you do on the days where you don't feel like showing up?
Yeah, there's definitely days like that. So going to gym or whatever form of exercise you decide to do, it's an appointment. That's an appointment with myself, whether I like it or not.
Yeah, whether you slept nicely or didn't.
Whether you're in the mood or not in the mood, motivated or not motivated. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline stays. So that's an appointment, this time and that time, or that day, you are there for it.
So I think for me it's a little bit different. I've got school runs in the morning, so I've got to drive past the gym. So I go to the gym. I mean, there were days where I would sit in that parking lot and not feel it at all. But I can't sit in it too long because I've got people in there that I know is going to make me feel better. I am going to feel better after my workout. So for me, it's a matter of I get out my car and I go to the gym. It might not be the best workout I've ever done. I might not be hitting any personal bests, but I showed up, whether it's looks like walking on that track. I mean, I have walked that track with friends, pouring my heart out, telling jokes, crying. That track at Planet Fitness has all the juice on everybody.
It helps if you look forward to something there, whether it's people that you know,
Mikeys.
or just the coffee afterwards. Set it up so that that will keep you going, and that makes it easier and more achievable. And then in the long run, you'll be consistent.
No, it will be like brushing teeth.
So obviously, the whole thing around discipline involves a certain level of routine and habit. So what is the one habit that changes or has changed it all for you?
Drinking water has really, for me, there's absolute magic in it. I don't think people appreciate the fact that water is, your body needs it, and drinking a liter is not nearly enough. The average person needs to drink 3 to 4 liters of water per day. So that is something that I had to learn how to drink water. It's not an easy thing, especially so much water. But yeah, for me, water is changed my life, and I think that's where a lot of magic lies.
For me, it's food prep. You can't decide on the spur of the moment when you're hungry what you're going to eat, and there's nothing in your fridge. You have to plan and buy and cook in bulk. That's probably the easiest. Prepare your meals before the time. If you know you've got a busy day, pre-pack it in a lunchbox so it's easy for you to grab. So if you plan ahead, you can do that in your own free time. When you've got free time, prepare your foods, and then it's just so much easier going through the day.
It also helps with decision fatigue. And I mean, if you can just do that planning, I mean, for any mom, any woman, any business owner, anybody, you come home and there's no thinking. You just take the stuff out and you do it. So, I mean, that food prep thing is going to be an hour for that. It's going to set you up for the next 3 to 4 days. So those are two really magic ingredients, I think, that works very well for any, whether you want to win high rocks or you're just playing netball for fun. Food prep and drinking water.
And then last but not least, what about somebody that's starting from ground zero and wants to start this journey? What's your advice for them? Obviously, the first step in this journey is sometimes the most difficult, but once you take that initial step, it can really be quite a self-motivating feature in your life. But I think, how do you take that step correctly? What's your advice to somebody starting out?
There is so much you can do out there. I think the magic is for you to find something that you like. It doesn't have to be gym. It doesn't have to be paddle. It doesn't have to be high rocks. It can be a hike. It can be a walk. But find something that you like. If it's getting onto a bicycle, so that you can enjoy it. Because I think a lot of times what happens is you join the gym, you start your fitness journey, you get to the gym, those machines are overwhelming. The guys that signed you up didn't really show you how any of that worked. There's a whole bunch of four-waist boots there by the mirror. I'm not going there. That is just, it's going to set you up for failure. So if you can find a Mikey and you can find something that you like, then and you can get your body to move. The main thing is to move. Just move, get up, move, get off the couch, park your car far away from the entrance of the shopping center, get your steps in. Then once you get comfortable, I mean, then you as an individual, you'll start pushing yourself. That's just the way it is. When you start losing weight and your body starts responding, something clicks. And then you just want to go and go and go. And that's, I think, it's just a matter of finding something for yourself.
Yeah, that's absolutely something I also agree with. Find something that you like and take it from there. I was
a mentor, a coach.
Yeah, I was in the gym. I had no idea what I was doing. I did my own training program, didn't see results. Then you start to lose motivation. But the best thing you can do is take it a step further and get a trainer or get a coach, someone that can help you, guide you, and then that will put you on.
So that's a very good example. I mean, Melissa trained, we both trained with Karina. She's our personal trainer where she does core exercises. So, it was a matter of Melissa was in that gym, she did her sessions, and nothing really, there was nothing happened. She just, lose a kilo here, pick a kilo, and she didn't see any like real improvement. So she couldn't see her muscles popping. And that's when she joined Quadzilla. And I mean, that has been an absolute game changer for her. But ultimately, she also had to get to the gym first, had to meet people, find her tribe, get into the whole vibe. So that's what I'm saying. Once you get started, you will eventually find what works for you.
Magic. So I think the way to get started is to take that first step and kind of figure it out from there. Nothing's going to change if you're sitting thinking about it. You actually have to get out there and do something. So I think you've shared some really great advice with us. You've given us a little bit more insight into what Muscle Mikeys is about. If people want to get in touch, how do they find you?
So we are now on Instagram, Facebook, and
TikTok.
And we are on TikTok. So you will find us as Muscle Mikeys. It's MUSCLE. Mikeys is spelled MAIQS. So that's where you'll find us on the socials. Go and like us, share, and let's see where this takes us.
Yeah.
We are super excited, the two of us.
Yeah. We're ready to unleash your potential.
Fantastic, guys. Well, it's been a motivational discussion, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, G. Have a lucky one. Bye.
Thanks.
You too. Bye.